I'm sure most of you are aware of this, but there's something called the Macgyver method, which is used to supercharge creativity, problem solving, thinking of good ideas, and way more. So let's go ahead and review how to use this to get extraordinary results. The TV character Macgyver is an excellent problem solver. This is why Lee Zlotov, who created the character, had to himself become an excellent problem solver. To write episodic TV, Zlotov writes, I had to produce an enormous amount of creative material under very tight deadlines. There was no time to get stuck. After years of this kind of work, Zlotov started noticing that whenever he did get stuck, the answers never came in the most obvious places, like when he was working at his desk trying to solve the problem. Instead, he got his answers whenever he was driving or taking a shower. This happened so often that Zlotov, whenever he would get stuck, he would literally just stop work, drive home, and take a shower. Imagine how that would be as his boss, it's like, hey, where's Zlotov at, And the other coworker's like, oh, he went home to take a shower. It's like, oh, okay, wait. What? Zlotov decided to try to figure out why this was happening and to see if he could learn how to trigger these aha moments at will. And that's exactly what he did. Zlotov discovered that lightly stimulating activity, like taking a shower, occupies the conscious mind just enough, but not too much. It serves as an incubation period where the problem gets transferred from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is just much better at problem solving. It's far faster, it's far more efficient, and it has almost unlimited RAM, meaning that while the conscious mind can only hold about 7 bits of information at once, which is the equivalent of a phone number basically, the subconscious doesn't appear to have a limit on how many things it can juggle. And more importantly, Zlotov discovered how to harness this ability and use it with ease, meaning that you could give the brain a problem consciously, then activate the subconscious using lightly stimulating activity where it uses the pattern recognition to chew on the problem for a while. Then all you have to do is re-engage the conscious mind at the end of that process and retrieve your answer. And Zlotov nicknamed this the Macgyver method. Here's how it works. Step number 1, problem identification. Write your problem down literally. Speaking it aloud doesn't help. Telling a friend? Nope, that doesn't work either. The reason that writing it is so critical is because there is a direct relationship between the tactile and memory. Also, make sure you write it as detailed as possible, but the details don't necessarily have to be connected. More on that in just a second. For example, let's say that tomorrow I want to write a blog post and I'm completely stumped on what it's gonna be about and where to even start. I may simply sit down and write, tomorrow I want to write a blog post that is interesting, captivating, funny, starts with a conversation about elephants, and ends with a discussion about how the ancient Vikings used to use freediving as a way to sink battleships. Notice how I didn't really try to connect all the details. And the reason for that is because our subconscious is amazing at pattern recognition. So it'll do all the connecting for me. As long as we are clear about the goals, then the rest of it will take care of itself automatically in step 2. Step 2 is incubation. Now comes the easy part. This is where we step away from our problem so that our subconscious can chew on it for a little while. At first, this may need to be a little bit of a longer period for you, maybe a half a day or overnight, but as you get better at this and more accustomed to this process, usually an hour to 4 hours will do the trick. Now this part is really important because during this period, we need to do something that is lightly stimulating, but not overly taxing. Zlotov, for example, would build model airplanes. Personally, I don't have time to sit around and build airplanes, so I have to be a little bit more strategic in how I plan my activities. For myself, when I see something that I need to do, like doing my laundry, driving to town, taking a walk outside to to get some fresh air, cleaning my room, etc., then I make a mental note of those things and set them off to the side and make sure that before I do them, I give my brain something to work on. In fact, sometimes I'll actually do this on purpose where I'll take something, I'm like, okay, I know I need to do my laundry today, so I'm gonna wait until there's something that I need to problem solve so that I can use that efficiently so that I can get 2 things done at once. And there's a lot of things you can do here, but it's really important that it's something light, it's stimulating and enjoyable, but it's something that doesn't stress you out. Because if you're all stressed out or you wear yourself out, you're tired, you're exhausted, and then you combine that with the extra stress of oh, I'm not finding the answer, then that extra level of anxiety is just gonna drive the solutions even farther away from you. A workout, for example, can be fine, but you wanna make sure you don't push yourself too hard during the workout. You don't wanna wear yourself out completely. It needs to be something light. Now, screen time does not make a good incubation period, so don't expect social media or TV to help you with this process. In fact, it'll do just the opposite because the fast-moving pictures requires too much mental processing. Step number 3. free writing. Now for the magic, and honestly, this is the best part and my favorite part of the whole process. After those hours have passed, simply sit back down on your notepad and start writing. To get the ball rolling, just start by writing anything. You can start with song lyrics or a poem, a note you want to write, maybe a quote from a book. It can be anything. The important thing is that it gets your conscious mind activated again. It's requiring you to consciously think about what you're doing. And it doesn't take long. Within a few minutes, you'll find that the answers to your problems will slowly start trickling out. In the case of my earlier example, I would usually sit down and just start writing something like, now I'm beginning to write my blog post for my website, and I don't really know what it's gonna be like yet. It sounds simple, but the results can be stunning. You'll find yourself solving creative problems and sparking new ideas and new passions with more speed and efficiency than normal. I use this literally almost every day because so much of my workflow is creativity and problem solving and things like that. So like whether it's writing a script or coming up with a video idea or a blog post or figuring out what thumbnail I want to use for my video or what video description needs to be like, and those are all pretty small things, right? Those are just daily tasks and daily things. But for one thing, I get it done much faster and I don't have to worry so much about it. But I also use this for very large things in my life. So for example, if I'm trying to process something very difficult or if I'm trying to solve a problem that is massive, I will usually take a day of solitude. Then that day would just simply be dedicated for that. And like I said, the results can be amazing. And one of the biggest things that Zlotov says is that it's such an emotional relief. He says, I never have to worry about a problem. If I get stuck, I know my subconscious can come up with the answers my conscious mind literally can't dream of, and in far shorter time frames. It's totally removed anxiety from my writing process. Don't discount this until you actually try it, and give yourself time to actually get used to it and learn how it works. Sometimes I will write down my problem or creative thing that I'm struggling with. I'll go fold my laundry or I'll clean my room and I'll come back and start writing again, and it's just boom, it's right there. So depending on what you're doing, this can happen very quickly, but if you're not used to it, like I said earlier, if you're not used to it, give yourself a little bit of time to adjust to that. Learning how to just put your thoughts on paper and figure out what is useful and then starting to learn how to run with that can take just a little bit of practice. So give yourself a little bit of time to master this. Even if you find it hard to find time for lightly stimulating activity like this, we all sleep. Like that's at least one opportunity a day to tackle a large problem. Speaking of which, sleep is one of the most productive things you can do. If you want to live in peak performance, sleep is non-negotiable. So right here in the dead center of the screen, I'll put a video of how I learned how to change my sleep behavior to obtain optimal level of performance.